You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
This program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
Of course, we've got the one and only Jenny McCartney in the booth, the social media goddess herself, pushing those buttons, making the show go again today. And, the co-hosts. I guess we'll go with the co-hosts. We got some of those, of course, coming to us live via satellite, as always, from his perch, I guess, high atop the Mill Bay Studios in beautiful Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada, is the one and only Louis Lawless. Yes, high atop there. Are you there, Louis?
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Yes, we got that. Don't worry.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
You go right ahead, sir. We've got you covered.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. And also joining us from his wonderful, beautiful, stately, I must say, apartment in Manhattan here in the big city is the one, the only, what's his name again? Oh, yes, Gilbert Godfrey. Are you ready, sir?
What the fuck?
Huh? Okay.
I'm ready.
Good. All right.
Yes.
All right. Gilbert Godfrey joining us from his lovely home here in the city. And also joining us is, of course, the one, the only George Takei, all the way from his home in Los Angeles, California. George, thank you for coming.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
Yeah. There you go. And thank you. That's awesome. Now, is this thing on?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's on. Is this on? I can't tap it. I would tap it, but I won't do that. So.
There you go.
That's
well.
Right. Only one, Meeps. That's us. The only one, HTLA Radio 1, New York. And you're here and you're listening. And this is Straight Talk. And, yeah, we've got 90 minutes of springtime in the city stories for you tonight. And, yeah, lots of social injustice stories. I'm in the mood for ranting. We said we weren't going to do a rant show, but here we are, and it's going to turn into a rant show.
It is, yes.
I can't help but be angry about the stories. You know, there's just too much to be excited about, and everybody's got to bring us down with all this stuff.
Stupidity.
That's right. And, well, we'll talk about that, too, because we've got a great show coming up for you that we've got in development for a little while now, and we're going to launch that Wednesday, and we'll talk about that a bit later. That's pretty exciting. That's called The Spotlight with Kate and Crush.
Absolutely. And tonight, a bit of a free-for-all. We're going to tear it up for you on tonight's Straight Talk. Everything from the day's events to some politics goodiness and the struggle, of course, to maintain home and work. We'll get into it all tonight. Professional businesswomen that I talk to, they do the work, but it's just the corporate work, and they think that's enough because, damn it, I've just put 12 hours a day in today in my job, and
right.
They feel deserving of something else, not to come home and take care of the kids, and not to come home and take care of the husband, and not to come home and take care of anything else.
Right.
It's time for them to kick their feet up now and go hit the bars and relax or something because they've earned it. Right. And I'm here to say that as a man, we do that all the time. We always have. We go out and work our full-time jobs or more.
Right.
And we come home and we're still expected to be the dad. We're still expected to help the kids with the homework. We're still expected to have activities and stuff with our family and have that interaction and put that time in.
Sure.
Maybe that's why we get 100% of our pay instead of 70% of our pay.
Right. Right. Well, you're not... Well, in the tradition now, men are also expected to do half the housework and half of all that stuff, whereas it used to just be before, you know, the garbages and the lawns and all that stuff that you do, the man stuff, you know. So, yes, and unfortunately, in some cases, in a great majority of the households now, more often than not, the women are working in, you know, I have so many, you know, friends that I know that their husbands take care of the kids and drop the kids at school and do the school activities and do the projects and wash the clothes and do
Yes, but with that comes the dreaded beta male, because there's not a single one of those men that I have met that I would look up to in battle.
No, of course not. And to our thinking, to our thinking. And while it took us years in practice, it was an ideology that we shared from the moment that we met anyway.
Yeah.
The whole, that was our vision for what the ideal family was.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Well, you know she's right there. You got it tuned to HTLA Radio 1. 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which means, of course, in the big city of New York, Coffee and Cigarettes is alive on the air. For today, your Wednesday Grinder, Wednesday the 8th of April, 2015. Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is, Bobby. Well, what do we got on the big show today? Well, we got some big news. The verdict is in on the Boston bomber trial. As protests mark the latest officer shooting caught on video, of course. Also, Rand Paul can't take the Iran heat already as a new lawsuit finds the DEA's phone surveillance illegal. Well, if that weren't enough, the NFL has officially allowed a woman to officiate NFL football games in the U.S. as the U.S. Supreme Court gives new life to the death penalty debate. Well, we got all that and so much more today on today's show, so come on in and grab a cup, have a seat, and light one up, ladies and gentlemen. It's coffee time. Well, there you go. That fine snort was brought to you by the fine folks at... Well, no, it was actually brought to you by Jenny, who didn't mute the mic there. Yes. No, of course she didn't. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be to you. To us here at HTLA Studio 2 in Manhattan, it is, of course, 3:02 in the afternoon. We're live online, dishing out your coffee and cigarettes for today. And so many things today, and we'll get to them soon. But first, I have to make a couple of announcements. First of all, the show, of course, is... powered by Procast. Yes, it is, including my microphone, which was not shut off. Right. There you go. Oh, what are you going to do? Who cares? Moving on, we do have co-hosts to this show, yes. Well, guest/co-host. Well, I guess in recent weeks it's guest/co-host/terminators. Yeah. Well, firstly, coming to us from beautiful Mill Bay Studios in beautiful Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada, is the one, the only documentarian madman, the filmmaker extraordinaire, Louis Lawless, from LDL Films. And, well, he's coming to us via satellite. He doesn't like to use the telephone, so we just tell him it's the satellite thing. So, yeah, there he is. But, Louis, are you there, sir?
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
Well, you can. I'll let you do that, but just don't do it so often. You know, I've got the button here, but, you know, Jenny's in charge of pushing it, so she might not get you fast enough there.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right, well, moving on. Our second guest/co-host/terminator, of course.
Yes.
Yes, there he is. The one, the only Gilbert Gottfried.
I'd like to have that as my slogan in life.
Yes, the Terminator. Yeah. Well, and of course, the reason that, well, we are Terminators is, of course, because we do have, from his wonderful sprawling office, sprawled all over his beautiful home in Malibu, California, is the one, the only Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sir, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to complain about it, right?
Well, you say that almost every day, and I don't know. To me, it sounds like you're complaining about it.
Yes.
I think you are.
You know, I mean, to me, I always was the kind of guy that enjoyed working out 5 hours a day, but when I walk out of the gym, that's it. And I wanted to play, I wanted to have a good time.
Mm-hmm. So you work out 5 hours a day, and then you go out and screw the maid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never, no.
Okay. All right. You didn't screw the
When
maid.
you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that, it would be all over the place.
Well, that's what we do here. We do say those things.
They get crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
That's true. That is true. Nobody loves. Are you loved, Arnold?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, we love you here. That's really the main thing.
Yeah.
And it's great to have you here, as always. So there you go.
You know, I'm the most talented guy in this room.
I'll let you have that.
Yes.
I don't know who else is in the room there with you, but surely they couldn't hold a candle. No. Yes, and of course I do have to mention that today's Coffee and Cigarettes is, of course, brought to you by the fine folks at Tim Hortons, New York City, now with 8 fine locations in the city to serve all of your coffee and baked goods needs. Tim Hortons is always fresh, just like Gilbert. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's the big opening. Hope you're, well, I don't know, still listening.
Yeah.
Yes, the Wednesday Grinder, the show that tries to help you through your week by offering up some fun. How the hell am I going to do it with this first story? Well, I shall endeavor to do my best.
Yes.
And, well, with the help of Gilbert and his craziness, I should be able to do that. First story up today on the old coffee shop here is, of course, the Dokar Sarnaev has been found guilty of the Boston Marathon bombing. Yes. The evidence, combined, of course, with his lawyer's opening statement, quote, "He did it," has definitely seen to put him away.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Dokar Sarnaev was found guilty today of charges in the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing that would make him subject to a possible death sentence. In the first count, he was found guilty of conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction. Sentencing for the 21-year-old Sarnaev will be held at a later date. The 7-woman, 5-man trial jury returned its verdict after just 2 days of deliberations. I guess it was, really hard trying to get over that opening statement. They were probably thinking, was that defense attorney real? What the hell? And you can just hear her in the jail cell, conferring with her client. Okay, Sarnaev, I'm going to say, quote, "He did it." Okay, I'm going to do that. But don't worry, it's all part of my strategy.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, he has or had faced 30 counts in the case, including 17 counts punishable with the death penalty. The bombing on April 15th, 2013, left 3 people dead and 260 injured. A 4th person, a security officer, was killed 3 days later during an intense manhunt that brought the shocked city to a standstill. The outcome of some kind of guilty verdict was in little doubt after the defense acknowledged that Sarnaev had placed a pressure cooker explosive device near the crowd near the finish at Boston's Boylston Street of the annual race. The defense had argued that while Dokar was involved, he was manipulated by his older brother Tamerlan, who was killed during a police shootout as the manhunt unfolded. None of the 4 defense witnesses suggested that Sarnaev was innocent. Yeah, let's bring them in. Yeah. Yes, I'm one of those defense attorneys that not only has an opening statement saying that he did it, But I will indeed bring in 4 defense witnesses, none of whom will confirm that he didn't do it. That's what I'll do. You know, I'm definitely going to keep this lady on retainer for any court cases I need to be in.
Yes.
Well, we are not asking you to go easy on Dakozar. Defense attorney Judy Clark said in her closing statement, his actions deserve to be condemned. Oh, you know, defense and Judy Clark should never go together.
Yes.
No. Not only does she say that his actions deserve to be condemned, she further adds that the time is now. Oh, this case is going to be in so many appeals. Oh, no, wait. No, it won't. She's not going to file them?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Never, ever, 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 ever in my life in Canada or the USA, or indeed the world, have ever heard a defense attorney not only open up with condemning her client by saying that he did it, provide 4 defense witnesses that don't suggest that he was innocent, and close up with, he deserves to be condemned and the time is now. Yeah, you just... I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say she's the prosecutor.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that, it would be all over the place.
Yeah. Nobody listens to you in court.
Yes.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Well, as we told you earlier on Monday in Coffee and Cigarettes, the closing arguments, of course, were wrapped up Monday in the guilt or innocence phase of the trial, with prosecutors ratcheting up their case that Tsarnaev, well, did it. Prosecutors described Tsarnaev as a true believer in the cause of radical violent jihad to avenge what he saw as harm by the United States against Muslims. His defense attorney agreed. The plan was to make this bombing as memorable as it could possibly be, U.S. Assistant District Attorney William Weinreb said. Prosecutors pulled no punches, and neither did the defense attorney. Calling 92 witnesses over 15 days, including double amputees and the father of an 8-year-old boy who was killed, they presented a trove of more than 4,000 hours of surveillance footage that left little doubt about Tsarnaev's culpability, not only in the marathon bombings themselves, but also in the murder of Collier. If that weren't enough, they hammered home his motive, being retribution on Allah's behalf for the harm he said America has done to Muslims. Yes, that's why they're coming over and immigrating by the tens of thousands, right? Maybe you should check with your local chapter of the Muslims there and see what that's all about. They quoted words Tsarnaev had written inside a backyard boat where he hid during the manhunt. Quote, "Stop killing our innocent people and we will stop," was among the statements. These were not the work of his brother Tamerlan, whom the defense has blamed for conceiving the terrorist plot. Tamerlan died after Tsarnaev ran him over in a shootout. What a nice brother. Well, he still wrote that manifesto in the boat when the brother was no longer around, Kanye said. No, not Kanye West. No. That body of evidence, he said, was likely very damaging. Add to that his defense attorney, and it's all over. Yeah. Well, federal judge George O'Toole met earlier with attorneys for both sides, about 30 minutes, to address the questions raised by the 7-woman, 5-man jury, which deliberated more than 7 whole hours Tuesday before ending the day without a verdict. The charges against Tsarnaev, totaling 30 counts, fall into 4 main categories. Wow, you know you're screwed when all your charges are in categories.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. 12 pertain to 2 pressure cooker bombs that were used at the marathon. 3 other charges dealt with conspiracy. Another 3 covered fatal shootings on April 18th, 2013 of MIT security officer Sean Collier. The final 12 addressed what happened after Collier's murder, including a carjacking, robbery, use of improvised explosives against Watertown, Massachusetts police officers. O'Toole began Wednesday's proceedings by reading the jurors' questions, one of which had two parts, and delivering his answers. Quote, can a conspiracy pertain to a sequence of events over multiple days or a distinct event, was the first question. Duration is a question of fact for you to determine, O'Toole told the jury. It would be limited to one event to apply more than one. Why are we reading these? His defense lawyer says he's guilty. Yes, well, even when a defendant isn't fighting the charges, jurors still need time to work through each question, says Michael Kanye, dean of the Massachusetts School of Law. That would be the Kanye I was referring to, not Kanye West.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Did I manage to make that funny enough? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. We'll move along here. But actually, should I move on to that or should I move on to this? Jenny's got the stories kind of mixed up today, but I'm going to pull one out from later down the queue and bring it up to right now because it kind of pertains directly to the end of this Sarniev case, of course. What with the prosecutor and defense attorneys working in cahoots, obviously. So I'll bring it up now. The Supreme Court gives new life to a death penalty debate. In Washington, the state that plans to kill Kent Sprouse on Thursday recently received a new supply of pentobarbital, the drug of choice for executioners in the country fast running out of humane ways to perform lethal injections. Hey, you know what? I say go the YouTube way. Let's behead them. Yeah. It gets great hits on YouTube. You can sell tickets.
Yes.
It's that's the way to go. Well, that should give Texas enough of the barbiturate to execute 4 death row inmates at its Huntsville State Penitentiary this month and maintain its status as the nation's leader in lethal injections. More than 500 since it became the first to use that method in 1982. But other states and some of the prisoners they have executed of late can't find pharmacies willing to supply drugs that can kill reliably without the gasps and groans and spitting up. And, oh, well. Well, in 3 weeks, the justices will consider a challenge from 3 death row inmates to Oklahoma's lethal injection method, one that's used by several other states. A ruling against the midazolam, a sedative that lacks the knockout punch of pentobarbital, is part of a 3-drug cocktail which further crimped the country's ability to execute prisoners. Even if the court does not rule against Oklahoma, a number of other developments, are pointing towards the diminution of the death penalty full stop in America. 6 states, including New York, New Jersey, New Mexico, Illinois, Connecticut, and Maryland, have all abolished capital punishment since 2004. Several other states have imposed moratoriums on lethal injections because of problems ranging from botched executions in Oklahoma and Ohio to a cloudy drug concoction that was used in Georgia. The Supreme Court has ruled that juveniles and people with intellectual disabilities cannot be executed, while judges, juries, and prosecutors have turned increasingly to life sentences without possibility of parole. Just last month, both the American Pharmacists Association and the International Academy of Compounding Pharmacies discouraged their members from participating in the process. The U.S. group called it, quote, fundamentally contrary to the role of pharmacists as providers of health care. Execution is health care? Really? I guess. Kind of the final health care.
Yes.
You know? Wow. Okay. Well, the difficulties involved in lethal injections are forcing states with capital punishment laws to rejuvenate backup methods once viewed as beyond the pale. Tennessee would allow electrocution again. Oh, sweet electrocution. Did you wet the sponge?
Yes.
Utah, death by firing squad. There's a good one. I like that one. Now, Oklahoma lawmakers are moving toward legalizing the use of nitrogen gas. I guess their theory is to get them up to heaven fast and furious. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to pump this boy with enough nitrous to send him right through to hell.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there you go. The lethal injection issues are coming at a critical juncture, says Robert Dunham, executive director of the Death Penalty Information Center in Tourist Spot. Oh, see, I didn't even know. I got to take the family this summer.
Yes.
Go on down to Georgia and check out the Death Penalty Information Center. Huh? Well, capital punishment is declining, he notes, judicially, legislatively, and as a matter of practice, all at the same time. Well, there is good reason to believe the Supreme Court won't help that trend on April 29th when it considers Goslip v. Gross, a case called Warner v. Gross, until the justices refused to stop Charles Warner's lethal injection in January. It's kind of like that oldest woman in America, isn't it? Well, the case used to be called Warner v. Gross, but we killed him,
yes.
So who's next? Glossip v. Gross. That's what we'll call it now. That's the way to go. Well, despite its rulings abolishing the death penalty for people with intellectual disabilities in 2002 and for juveniles younger than 18 in 2005, the conservative-leaning court has shown little inclination to move much further. Only 4 votes were needed to accept the Oklahoma case. Only the use of mislodam was part of a 3-part drug protocol that is in jeopardy. Not the same 3-drug protocol the court upheld in Bays versus Reese, the 2008 Kentucky case that upheld a method of lethal injection used most of the states at the time. Midazolam was implicated in 3 botched executions last year in Ohio, Oklahoma, and Arizona, where prisoners gasped, groaned, and snorted before guards shot them in the head. Although Florida and Oklahoma used the protocol successfully in January, Texas and Missouri have had fewer problems with pentobarbital. The problem is in getting a reliable supply of any lethal injection drugs following the European Union's export ban in 2011. Why don't they just feed them GMO foods? Well, that'll work. Yes, the states that have turned to compounding pharmacies for their drugs are running into increased resistance, and for good reason, says David Miller, the executive president of the International Academy of Compounding Pharmacists. As a pharmacist, I was trained to take care of people, Miller said. This is not our business. Our business is in healing. Well, talk to some of the families, bud. Let the healing begin. Yeah. And, of course, the story goes on and on, and it's just a whole bunch of other court cases and whining, sniveling peons. And
yes.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter.
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut, always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together. That's a American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Again with England. Oh, okay, Louis, thank you very much for that. Well, listen, gang, we're going to go for our first commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to tell you about the latest protests that are marking the latest officer shooting, which was, of course, caught on video. We'll be back in 2.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions, abundant with rich, fertile soil? What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons. Always fresh. Always great tasting coffee.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, none of it. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the Egyptian cotton towels. Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York. Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor. We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
I mean, Hollywood is not pretty. I mean, there's some cutthroat going on there, and it's a very dangerous place, actually. And, you know, it's in anything. If you want to be the best, you have to really fight for it, and you have to struggle and have to go through your ups and downs, and you fall often. And it's not just like all victories. There's a lot of defeats and then victories again and defeats, and you pick yourself up again and get up and get going. And I'm very fortunate that now, after I finished the governorship, that I've done 4 movies, and now Last Stand is my first action film that I'm starring in it.
Jesus Christ, do you ever take a breath? Man. Wow. I just... Okay. You know, I'm just confused. You know.
I've been on enough radio shows to know that in the middle of an answer, the guy is like checking the boards and looking over notes and talking to other people. Yes. Yeah. See? Now you're impressed.
Yeah. I would be impressed if it was you actually doing that. Yeah. Oh, hey, welcome back to the Wednesday Grinder. Coffee and cigarettes, HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. 329 in the city right now, 44 degrees in Central Park, still cloudy, and it's going to be 40s the next 2 days or so before hopefully we get up to, 60 or something. Something really exciting or something. Yeah, whatever. Well, listen, welcome back to the show, and I want to do some shout-outs here first up. As I've told you before, you want to get in with the in crowd, check out the live broadcast chat room, of course, at Spreaker.com. That's where the action is, and I'd like to give a shout-out and welcome to Jeff Brooks, all the way from Toronto, Canada, or as he puts it, Toronto Stan. How's it going, Stan? It just makes me wonder, if I were out in the Afghanistan mountains there, I'd go up to some of these villagers and be like, how's it going, Stan?
Yes.
I mean, you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that, it would be all over the place.
If you said that, they would punch you in the head. See, they're not all scared of you, Arnie. They know that you're just an old man.
I think you have sharks in both tanks.
Well, we do, but hey, at least I'm married. Yeah, there you go. Stick that in your cork and smoke it. Yeah.
I'm married. Yeah, I'm not divorced yet.
Yet. Yeah. Yeah, just keep on waiting there. I'm sure there'll be a man in a suit comes through the door here in the booth any minute now with some blue papers for you.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't. In California, you can't bang your maid, have offspring, and have your wife. You just can't. You can't. Well, anyway, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming back and listening to this drivel. And once again, of course, this drivel is brought to you by Tim Hortons, New York City.
Yes.
There you go. Well, let's see. Is there a new Ferguson? That's the question of the day. Is there a new Ferguson? Well, could be. Protests marked the latest officer shooting, which was, of course, caught on video now. Where, you might ask? Well, North Charleston, South Carolina. Scores of angry, black people. Scores of angry black people chanted Black Lives Matter and, I guess not to get killed or strung up, also said All Lives Matter.
Yes.
Yeah. In front of City Hall today, one day after a white police officer was charged with shooting and killing an apparently unarmed black man in a confrontation that was caught on video. I'm going to go on a limb here before I read the rest of the story, and I'm just going to say that I'll bet you that unarmed black man was engaged in some sort of heinous crimes. I don't think we're going to find that he was just sitting on a park bench, man.
Yes.
Well, the North Charleston officer, Michael Slager, 33, was charged with the murder of Walter Scott, 50, after a passerby sent a cell phone video of Saturday's shooting to authorities and Scott's family. Mayor Keith Sumney, at a news conference today, said Slager has been fired, but that his wife, who is 8 months pregnant, will continue to receive city health benefits. Some of you said the city has obtained a grant to equip every police officer with a body camera. Police Chief Eddie Driggers said that he has been praying for peace. Oh my God, when this hits, we're all going to die. Well, the emergence of the dramatic video shocked the city of 100,000, with the population split almost evenly between blacks and whites. In a small number of other minorities, the tragedy follows months of national discourse about race and policing after law enforcement confrontations with unarmed black citizens in, of course, Ferguson, Missouri, New York City, and elsewhere, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, the video shows Officer Slager dropping what appears to be a stun gun, drawing his gun, and shooting at Scott's back at least 8 times as he ran away. Scott falls face down on the ground. Slager walks up and put his handcuffs on Scott. You shoot somebody 8 times, you're going to cuff him?
Yes.
More than 2 minutes after the shooting, Slager appears to reach down and check Scott for a pulse. Slager told investigators that Scott had struggled for his police-issued stun gun and that he shot Scott because he feared for his life. Authorities said state law enforcement division agents, after viewing the recording and examining other evidence, filed the charges. Quote, "This is a time for us to come together." Yes, that's what one protester told the crowd in front of City Hall today. This is not just about black lives. It's about black lives. And he went on to add that it is a bigger issue than just racist police.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Scott's family said they intend to file a civil suit against Slager, a 5-year veteran of the force. His father told NBC's Today Show today that his father may have run because he owed child support and feared he would be jailed. There you go. You see, so pound for pound, gang, dollar for dollar, whether you're grabbing a fistful of cigarillos
Yes.
or you owe on the child support, run away and we'll shoot you. Yes. Heaven forbid. Yes, we'll shoot you, or you can just, face the bill.
Yes.
Yeah, just, go work somewhere and pay.
When you say that, you get away with it. If I would say that,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But well, I got to say though, on The Last Stand, you did play a pretty awesome law officer there. I got to say that was he did a good job with that. I almost thought he was in charge. I'm just playing with you, Arnold.
They get f***ing crazy because all of a sudden nobody loves them.
We still love you, Arnold, damn it. Yeah. Well, I asked that everyone continue to pray for my family, says Anthony Scott, Walter Scott's brother, hours after Slager was booked Tuesday at the Charleston County Detention Center. Quote, "We can't get my brother back, and my family is in deep mourning for that, but through the process, justice has been served." Well, you may not be able to get him back, but that officer got him in the back 8 times. Yeah. Well, Walter Scott spent 2 years in the Coast Guard, had 4 children, and was outgoing and loving. Anthony Scott said, "He was the most outgoing of all of us," the brother said. "If there was one person that would like white people, it would have been him." We've all seen the video, Anthony Scott said. If there hadn't been a video, would we know the truth, or would we have just gotten with what was reported earlier? But now we do know the truth. Well, I think I'm pretty safe in assuming that you would have been lied to, yeah? Well, Chris Stewart, an attorney for Walter Scott's family, told USA Today the video depicting Scott's death should be a turning point for the nation and illustrates yet another example of unarmed black men being unjustly killed by a police officer. Yeah. Well, yet Stewart stressed that Scott's death goes far beyond racial issues and really shows that some lives, black or white or Hispanic, are not valued by some officers. And child support bills should have no regulation whatsoever. And, I won't let this just be about race, Stewart said. This is about a human being being killed. It's more about the power and value that the officer deems you have. This is just another example of another African American being abused by the justice system, so to speak, or police authorities. But that mindset stems from, quote, "I think you're powerless." Yes. Well, put Nate in your back. No, you are powerless. There you go. Well, while Stewart says the video doesn't guarantee justice will be served because the process is still playing out, but he said the video will have an impact as departments consider getting body cameras and people around the country think about police misconduct. I'm kind of twofold on this. Originally, I wasn't actually for police getting these cameras that Obama thought would be a good idea to make them accountable. Where's his camera, huh? Yes, Mr. President. Where the hell is your Prezzo cam?
Yes.
Well, but then I thought about it, a little bit longer, and I thought, hey, this actually might be good because, these white police officers, I don't care who you are or what you say, but the vast majority of them out there don't just go looking to gun down black people. That's not part of their job, and I think that there would be an overwhelming amount of videos that would be justified shooting of black lives that don't matter. Yep. That's what I'm saying, and I'm going to stick to it. whether you like it or not, I'm going to do it.
Yes.
I'm just a Busta Rhymes here. I think I should be a rapper.
Never. No.
No?
Yes.
Doesn't want me to be a rapper, huh?
The music is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to hear it.
Yes, of course. I don't know. But anywho, 40 minutes past the hour, we got to go for our second commercial break, of course. When we come back, we're going to give you, well, of course, some lovely election 2016 news, like it really freaking matters. Yes, and is it Hillary announcing her candidacy? No. Christ, no, not yet. No, we got to wait till, I don't know, 2017 or something. Well, I don't know what the deal is with her, but hey, Rand Paul got testy today. Yes, he did. Live on NBC television in an interview about foreign policy. We'll tell you about that when we come back in 2.
You've got it logged to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
It could be 7 in the morning. Or 10 at night. In Chilliwack, BC. Or St. Peter's, Nova Scotia. It could be Michelle. Or Mark. Or Jen. But whenever, wherever you order that cup of Tim Hortons Premium Blend Coffee, you know that it's always fresh.
From Newfoundland and Labrador to Vancouver Island, Tim Hortons, a coffee all our own.
You walked into the hotel as a 5. But when she saw the room, you turned into a weird 7. When she saw the rooftop pool, you went to 11. You two should probably get a room. Oh, that's right. You already did. At Planet Earth's #1 accommodation site, Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out, we never style, we never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
I remember being on your radio show in Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah. I totally remember that there, Gilbert. Actually, I was just thinking about Toronto during the commercial break there. You know what? That's one of the places that I've never actually... well, okay, I was there, and I want to give a shout-out to all the girls on Yonge Street. There you go. Yeah, that's me. This Mr. Wild Time Crash Jesus right there.
Yeah, and I remember we hung out afterwards and had a wild time.
Of course, yeah.
And I remember, too, when we were in the alleyway, pants zipped up, there was this one, sleazy-looking guy who walked by, who was staring at us.
Oh, yeah.
And you turned around, and, he was what? What? What's your problem?
Yeah.
And you said, you don't give a shit.
Well, and I really don't. I mean, for God's sake, they're in the alley with me.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, screw them. Whatever they are,
So I could see you feel very uncomfortable talking. Now there was another time you were when I know you're very secretive about your drug problem.
Yeah, it used to be. Yeah.
Now, here's a story I'm sure you're tired of talking about, but I'd be remiss in not bringing it up, and that's when you beat up a transvestite.
Well, yeah. What are you going to do, right? Wow. Well, welcome back to the big program today, this afternoon. HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. For this Wednesday grinder on coffee and cigarettes. 3:47 in the afternoon right now, 44 degrees right now in Central Park, and still cloudy. And I'm having a thing.
And I remember, and this is why I feel I have a real connection with you.
Oh God!
Because in the alleyway, when that's the beginning,
right? Yeah.
she bent over in the alleyway, and you inserted yourself, and then she started to blow me, and my erection was kind of a semi-erection because I kept looking at you. So when you're standing there trying to get a blowjob and looking at it's really hard, and then I remember.
Oh, God.
I had a hotel room.
Of course.
So we both went up there, and you went first. You are my opening act.
Oh, God. Well, I guess that kind of cues up the segue. We can talk about politics now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, wow. Thanks, Gilbert. That was one hell of a story. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
Moving on. I'm moving on. That's fine. Forget about it. Yes, the big Rand Paul news. Yes, this is a man that, he's put his hat in to become the most powerful man in the world, apparently. But hey, can he get through an NBC interview about Iran? No, he can't. No, a day after declaring his presidential bid, Senator Rand Paul took issue with the line of questioning over his foreign policy positions. Yes, the Kentucky Republican clashed with NBC's Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show today. Yes. When she tried to ask whether he's changed his positions over the years on issues such as the threat posed by Iran and its nuclear ambitions and foreign aid to Israel. Well, Paul's foreign policy stance, in which he's generally opposed to U.S. intervention unless there are clear national security interests, could become under fire from more hawkish GOP rivals as the battle for the nomination unfolds, but his interactions with the news media will also be scrutinized, particularly following his recent appearance in CNBC, in which he got agitated with anchor Kelly Evans. As Paul attempted to speak today, Guthrie spoke over him and suggested her query would be better phrased as, quote, "Have I changed my opinion?" That would sort of be a better way to approach an interview. He began his answer when Guthrie asked if Iran was still a threat. Quote, "No, no, 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 no. Listen." Listen, he says, "you've editorialized." That's... Let me answer. You ask a question and you say, quote, "Have your views changed?" end quote, instead of editorializing and saying, "My views have changed." Well, in his campaign kickoff speech, Paul said Tuesday that he would insist that any deal with Iran about its nuclear weapons programs be brought before Congress because he'll be too damned busy. Well, he drew applause, actually, for saying that he would oppose any deal, quote, "that does not end Iran." Yeah. Okay. No, what he actually said is that does not end Iran's nuclear ambitions and includes strong verification measures, end quote. Paul expressed his skepticism about the framework of the Iran deal during his Today Show interview today, saying he does believe, quote, "negotiation is better than war, and you better print that bitch." There you go. There he is. Well, we all know about the NSA, don't we? We all know that they're surveilling us. They're tapping our cell phones. Yeah. They're doing everything they can to corrupt no. They are corrupt, and they're doing everything they can to insinuate themselves in our boring, ridiculous lives. That's right. I think I'm fairly justified and accurate when I say that.
Power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I can't disagree with you on that, Louis. I think that would be appropriate. I will do that. Yeah.
Sex is only the tip of the iceberg.
No, that was the alley a few minutes ago. No. Well, there's a new lawsuit out today that says the DEA and their phone surveillance is illegal. The Justice Department violated the Constitution by secretly gathering logs of billions of calls from the United States to as many as 116 countries, Human Rights Watch alleged in a lawsuit filed against the government today. The lawsuit, filed in federal court in Los Angeles, asked a judge to declare that the now halted surveillance operation was illegal and to permanently block the government from restarting it. It's time to end the program and bulk surveillance once and for all, says Nate Cardozo, an attorney with the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is representing the group. The Justice Department acknowledged in January that the DEA has been secretly gathering logs of Americans' international phone calls. USA Today reported on Tuesday that the program began nearly 10 years before the 9/11 terrorist attacks and provided a blueprint for the far broader National Security Agency's surveillance program that followed. It included virtually all calls from the United States to Mexico, Canada, and most of the countries in South and Central America. The suit is the latest legal challenge to government data gathering that EFF and other private advocacies argue is completely unconstitutional. The group is also pressing a lawsuit challenging the NSA's surveillance program, which includes records of Americans' domestic phone calls. In the suit filed today, Human Rights Watch complained that the records had been collected, retained, searched, and disseminated without any suspicion of wrongdoing or without any judicial authorization or oversight. The group said that such sweeping surveillance violated its First and Fourth Amendment rights and that it should be able to make international calls without having the government keep a record of them. Who we communicate and when we communicate with them is often extraordinarily sensitive, and it's information that we should never turn over to the government lightly. Human Rights Watch General Counsel Dinah Kempner said in a statement today the Justice Department halted the data collection in September of 2013 and later deleted its database of call records, much like Hillary deleted her email. Yes, the DEA surveillance program, known within the agency as USTO, was the government's first known effort to collect electronic data about Americans in bulk, without regard to whether they were suspected of crimes. The agency did that using its authority to issue administrative subpoenas for records relevant to drug investigations. Justice Department spokesman Patrick Rodenbush said in a statement yesterday that the DEA is no longer collecting bulk telephone metadata from U.S. service providers. We are, however, continuing with our own gear. Yeah. There you go. See, you just can't win, but now, if you're going to win, it's going to be officiated by a woman.
Yes.
Yeah. Not even kidding. The NFL today confirms Sarah Thomas as the first full-time female official. So now, all you NFL footballers out there, you thought you hated the refs before. Now we're going to get calls such as, I don't feel very well.
Yes.
My feet are bloated. Yeah, I can hear it. Number 27, my feet are bloated, 15-yard line. Well, in New York, the Associated Press says the NFL has its first full-time female game official. Sarah Thomas, who has worked exhibition games, will be a line judge for the 2015 season. The league announced this today. The 41-year-old Thomas was the league's officiating development program in 2013 and 2014 and worked with some team minicamps last year. She's already broken ground in the officiating field as the first woman to work college games in 2007. She was the first female official on the FBS level and the first to officiate a bowl game, the 2009 Little Caesars Pizza Bowl in Detroit. Quote, I am a female, but I don't look at myself as just a female. I've got this black and white shirt, bitch, and I'm going to use it. Thomas said last June while working at Cleveland Browns minicamp, I look at myself as an official. Yeah. Well, you might remember Shannon Easton worked regular season NFL games back in 2012 as a replacement official, making her the first woman to do so in any capacity. She also was a line judge. Thomas, a former college basketball player who was inspired to become an official in the 1990s when she attended a meeting with her brother Lee in 1996. Thomas became the first woman to officiate in a Division I-A high school football game in Mississippi. Just under a decade later, she began officiating college games when she was hired by Conference USA, working as a line judge and head linesman. She also has worked a Senior Bowl, a Fight Hunger Bowl, a Medal of Honor Bowl, and the Conference USA Championship game in 2010 and 2014. Thomas officiated 2 seasons of United Football League, which is now out of business. 9 first-year officials were announced today. The group includes side judge Walt Coleman IV, son of NFL referee Walt Coleman. The Colemans will become the third active father-son officiating duo, joining Ed and Sean Hochul and Steve and Brad Freeman. The other new officials are Judge Kevin Cody from the American Athletic Conference, head linesman Hugo Cruz of Conference USA, and Bart Longson of the Pac-12, umpire Clay Martin of CUSA, side judges Aaron Santee of the Pac-12 and Jabber Walker of the SEC, field judge Sean Smith of the Big Ten. Off the field, Thomas is a pharmaceutical representative. Oh, great, the pharmacy thing again. Well, she said last June her 2 sons and 1 daughter see nothing extraordinary about her football job. They just know mom officiates and it's nothing foreign to them or pioneering or anything, she said. I do this. Well, we'll see. And finally today on the big program, another Mom of the Year story. A mom gets 20 years to life for poisoning her son with salt. Yeah. Of course, because that's the go-to item I'd be going for.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, in White Plains, New York, a judge today sentenced Lacey Spears to 20 years to life in prison for poisoning her 5-year-old son to death. On March 2nd, a jury had found Spears, 27, a Scottsville, Kentucky resident who was living in the New York City area, guilty of second-degree murder after a 14-day trial. I think that's a longer trial than Sarnia, isn't it? Yeah. Well, her actions that day were inhuman. They were despicable. They were evil, Doreen Lloyd, Winchester County's assistant district attorney, said in court. She described Spears' administration of salt into Garnett's feeding tube as the boy lay sick in the hospital, his inability to vomit up because of previous scarring, and his explosive bouts of diarrhea that went on for hours as his body tried to expel the poison. Geez, I'd kill him too. Yeah. Wow. Spears' condition, of course, diagnosed as Munchausen by proxy syndrome, caused her to crave the attention that being a mother with a sick child gave her, said acting State Supreme Court Justice Robert Neary. While he believes that Spears was suffering from a mental illness, he did not think it affected her competency to stand trial or the necessity for her to receive more than the minimum 15-year sentence. This was not a spontaneous or ill-conceived solitary act, Neary said. It was a serious and orchestrated series of actions that really shocked the conscience. I'm going to stick a tube down her throat and give her salt now. Well, that might be what she faces, but he also hoped that she would come to terms with her condition as she served her time, and that public awareness and public reporting of such cases increase because of her case. After Spears' conviction last month, William Arnwald, a criminal defense lawyer in White Plains, New York, said it would be difficult for her lawyers to win any mercy at her sentencing. There's not a sympathy factor here, Arnwald said. The judge heard all the evidence. What reason would there be to show mercy, even given that the jury found that she killed her child? Well, there's another defense attorney I want on my side. What is it with the defense attorneys? Just giving them all up, sending them away. Oh, yeah, no, Jenny. Right. Jenny and the wrong damn music. There you go. I swear there's going to be a new band. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, Jenny and the wrong music. Yeah. Are you ready now? It's 4 o'clock. Time to go. All right. Thank you. And speaking of thank yous, I got to thank the one, the only Louis Lawless on the phone here, or sorry, via satellite.
All right, go a half an hour. Do I get 50,000?
Yes.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
That's what they've done. They've reached a particular point that they feel they're untouchable.
Yes, that's from about the story about 40 minutes ago. Yeah.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. Well, thank you. And moving on, thank you, Gilbert, again for being here on the show today. Really appreciate it, Fred.
Thank you for listening and support the show for the love of God.
Oh, there you go. There you have it right there. And the one, the only Governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator himself. I know I'm hard on you. Please, God, don't sue me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and I'll be back.
There we go. There we have it.
Yes.
And the rest of you, all out there, go and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And we will see you here tomorrow for the Thursday Double-Double. Coffee and cigarettes, 3 p.m. Eastern. Well, have a good one.
finished room.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.